YouTube. This is Chuck, and it's Saturday, October 4th, 2025, about 4 o'clock in the afternoon. And I'm down here on the south end of town. I'm at the intersection of South Beeline and Aero Drive. See the sign up there. And I want to tell you a little bit about Aero Drive today and how it got that name. And it's not spelled A-R-R-O-W, it's spelled A-E-R-O, and there's a reason for that. And I'm going to tell you about that. Now there's a fair amount of traffic because it's Saturday afternoon, and so the day trippers from the Phoenix area, let me turn you around so I can talk to you. Some of the day trippers from the Phoenix area, they come up to visit the place, and so they're all headed home about now, and there's still other people coming into town for the weekend. Traffic gets pretty busy here on weekends, and I've talked about that before. But I want to tell you a little bit about the history of Aero Drive. And to do that, I'm going to give you a pan around here. Now the light caught the traffic, so we got a little gap in the traffic. So it's a busy intersection, but the road comes in at a bit of an angle. There's been some talk about putting a traffic light here, but they're kind of concerned about the angle thing. So Aero Drive, when it goes off to the west, it goes down to an industrial area and some auto parts shops and all this kind of stuff. And this used to be a feed store here, and they went out of business. There's a little gap in the traffic, but there's a South Beeline Highway, otherwise known as State Route 87, and that goes to the Phoenix metro area. And then across the way over there, of course, there's the Circle K, and you see gas is $3.17. That's not too bad. It's been higher. There you see a lot of people coming into town. There's a motel over there. It's been there for quite a few years. This building over here, the Pignon Cafe, I'm going to tell you a little bit more about that building in the second segment. But that building's been there since the mid-50s, and it's been under a couple of different names. But that's an old cafe building, and now it's a breakfast and lunch place. They don't stay open for dinner anymore. As you pan up now, here comes the light change, so now we got a bunch of traffic. Sorry about the traffic noise. You see over there we got Wendy's fast food joint, and all this traffic headed down to the big city. So let me go to another segment here, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about the history of Aero Drive. The best way to describe how Aero Drive got its name is through a historical perspective. So this is a view on Google Earth. Now, don't pay attention to these red lines here and here. They're from another project. And this pin dropped right there is actually where the Main Street Fire Station is. And that's another project as well. But what I want to show you is that back originally, this area right in here was town, was the downtown part. This road right there was the original way coming into town. And it was called, now it's called South McLean, and McLean was the surveyor who actually surveyed the town site. But South McLean was known in those days as the Globe Road because it went from Payson to Globe. Well, then you made this little jog right here and you went up this road. And this road was called the Pine Road. And it went up to Pine. Well, this is a hill right in here, and as you can see, the road winds around over top of the hill. Well, then over here on this side, this is a major drainage that came right down through here and ran right down along through here and runs into what is now the lakes at Green Valley Park. Well, this was the main road south, and here's Aero Drive. Runs right across here, all across there. All right. Well, you had a drainage here, you had a hill here, and you had a kind of a big open meadow area here. Now, when they decided to put the Beeline Highway through in the mid-50s, they decided to go around this hill. So the Beeline went around this hill, made a big deal about crossing this drainage right here, and I'll talk about that in another video sometime. And then after going around the end of this hill, it headed straight north. Well, before this road was there, in order to get to Aero Drive, you had to kind of drive around this way. All right. But now you see where we're coming for this? Now, let me tell you the other part of the story. Is the roads were dirt all the way down to the Metro Phoenix area and all the way to Globe. And the vehicles weren't what they are now. And for that reason, of course, it took a long time to get anywhere. It was a big production to get anywhere. But then, just like today, it's about 30 minutes by air. And so after World War I, there were certain military surplus airplanes were pretty cheap, pretty easy to get. And so a number of the local folks, they bought military surplus airplanes. They taught themselves to fly. And yeah, Aero Drive was the runway. And some of them they'd come in and land and fly and park at their house, park their airplane at their house. And they could be just about any place they wanted to be in about 30 minutes by air, as long as the weather was nice. So, yeah, Aero Drive was a runway. And there actually would turn out to be 3 runways in this town before they ended up putting in the airport up on Birch Mesa where it's at now. So that's the history. That's the history behind Aero Drive and how it got its name. Now, I'm going to show you a couple other things. It's right here at this corner. There's an old building. And I'm going to show you an old picture that I have about that. Well, this picture here was taken in the mid-1950s. And what you're seeing here is this is actually Beeline. And it wasn't, as you can see, nothing's paved yet. And this one here is Aero Drive. Now this building here, this was probably built, it was also fairly new when this picture was taken. But if you look real close, it says that it's Sherlock's. And it was a restaurant, and it was originally put along one of the first buildings put before the road was even paved. And now it's actually called the Pignon Cafe. For years and years it was called the Knotty Pine Cafe, and a lot of the old timers know it for that. But I'll plug in a picture and show you what it looks like now. I can get a shot off of Google Earth, and I'll give you an idea of what it looks like now. And I'll plug that in right here. There's kind of the same camera angle today off of Google Earth. And as you can see now, of course, the Beeline Highway is paved, and so all the streets are paved. This is Aero Drive. This is that same building. In that other picture back in the 50s, it was called Sherlock's. And now it's called the Pignon Cafe, and it was the Knotty Pine for many years, and a lot of people knew that. But as you can see, the country looks a whole lot different than it did then. So there's no way you're going to land an airplane on it now, but back in the day, you could do that. So I thought you'd be kind of interested in that part. We actually still have a place in town where if you own an airplane, you can land and taxi right to your house. So there, let's see if I can show you that. Now there's the airport. And here just on the west side of the airport is a subdivision right up in here. Right up in this area here that you can see. And basically, there's a gate, controlled gate right here. And you can taxi down. There's some aircraft-related businesses, and this is an industrial area. And there's some aircraft-related businesses in there, and they can taxi airplanes to their business. Or they can taxi down these streets here, and they can go up into this subdivision up there. And that's kind of an interesting place. Let me see if I can zoom down to street view and show you around a little bit, because that's kind of cool down there. So we can see what get your name, the official name of the place here. Let's back up a little bit. There's where this would be where you taxi in from the airport on this side, and then you can taxi up the streets. If you notice, they got the vegetation all trimmed back for clearance. This is an aviation-related business right here. But I don't see a name of that subdivision. I don't recall off the top of my head what it's called. But you can go on into here. We'll look at a couple of these houses. We can get this thing going a straight line. Now There's the name of the place right there. Madazel Mountain Air Park is what they call it. And you can see the fellow over here on this side has got a big hangar there in front of his house, and this guy here does too. Well, let's go just a little bit further forward and we'll take a look over there. And you can see where he can. I don't think he's going to get his airplane in there. I think his airplane goes in the other end, I believe, if I remember correctly. I haven't been up there in a while. Well, if I can make the thing go the way it's supposed to. Yeah, we don't need to go up there. We want to go this way. There's a good example of a house right there. This here is actually a hangar door that all opens up, and he puts his airplane in the bottom, taxis his airplane right into there. Let me see if I can show you another one here. These things are kind of cool. If I was an airplane kind of guy, I would definitely be all over that. I think that's pretty cool. I know there's a couple other real cool ones up here, so. See, here's another fellow right over here. He has once again, he has this is the hangar door that opens up, and there's his house, and he can park his airplane underneath there. So that's just a little glimpse into some of that stuff. Now, I actually know a fellow that lives up there, doesn't have an airplane, but he likes to entertain, and he has a lot of friends, and he invites them over for barbecues and watch football games and stuff, and he has his hangar under his house there set up as a great big man cave. And he'll have 30, 40 people over there. And that's just his thing. That's what he likes to do. So let me put a wrap on this. And this has been kind of an odd little video, but it kind of give you an idea of the history behind Aero Drive and some of the fancier neighborhoods we got up here for an airplane guy. And I've always been interested in airplanes, but they were always way, way out of my price range. And I didn't make enough money to be able to afford one of those. I had a friend one time tell me getting into airplanes was worse than getting into drugs, as far as the money goes. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed that little tidbit of history, and I hope I can string this together. And I'm sitting in my dining room right now and doing the final part of that. And I had to wait till after dark because I had such a glare problem before. But as I always tell you, take care of each other and love each other and take care of yourself and show gratitude for what you got. I've been busy shooting videos today. I got the bug for some reason, so this is the third one I've shot today, and I hope you enjoy it. So I'll be back with another one again here pretty quick. Still got some ideas bouncing around in my head, and so until I talk to you again, let me just tell you, peace out.